offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you a smarter, more informed consumer here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want to help you win in any marketplace. 80 categories of consumer advocate content and advice provided by our expert contributors and our legal analysts right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Save our hotline on in your phone at some point. You may need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Give us a call on the hotline. We would love to connect with you. 813-670-7372. Call or text that line. It's an off-air number, and we would love to connect. ConsumerQB.com is the website. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors at ConsumerQB.com. And you can see links there. You can see previous shows. And we would love to connect with you on social at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Consumer Quarterback Show page out there as well. Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. This segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the beautiful Bilmar Beach Resort on Treasure Island. Filled with fantastic and generous amenities. It's a great property. There's 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and of course you've got the beach that is just an enormous beach, huge beach. Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, let's do a couple of properties here, Jonathan. We got some properties available through the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. 213 Dogwood Circle, unit number 213. This is a gorgeous condo right here in Pinellas County, 1285 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, close to the pool, and the property has been updated and upgraded. It's beautiful on the inside, beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. It's one of our hot listings at 213 Dogwood Circle, unit number 213, right here in Tampa Bay. 55-plus community in Tampa Bay. 3405 Gray Whetstone. This one actually just went under contract today. Let's skip that one, John, and let's see if we can pull up another one so we get 2 in for this segment. All right, 5510 South Elkins Avenue. That one actually expired. We didn't get rid of that one. But check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right. We're expecting a call from Dan MENIKHEIM. He's the owner of prohealth Pest Control. He's going to be joining us today. Later in the show, we've got our water expert, Fred D. Felice. Freddie D. is going to be in the house. Waterscience.us. Find out all that you want to know and probably some things you didn't want to know about your water supply, what's in the drinking water supply. And, of course, Tampa just had their situation come up with a boil notice here in Tampa Bay. But Waterscience.us, Fred D. Felice coming up later in the show as well. In studio, attorney Lauren Frieder. Welcome back.
Thank you, Brandon. I'm happy to be back.
Absolutely. Good to see you again. Frank Charles, Miranda Law,
Yep.
right here in Tampa Bay, Cypress Street to be exact, right in Tampa. Beautiful new building over there. Helping with real estate law, landlord-tenant law, some business liability as well now is kind of a hot topic for COVID-19.
It is a hot topic. It's one of the things I thought we could talk about today is some of the lawsuits that have already started to ensue over COVID-related deaths. And most likely we know that the legislative will pass a law that gives businesses immunity or liability protections as it relates to COVID-19 instances. I thought it would be interesting to talk a little bit about that today so businesses know how to protect themselves and when they will not be immune from a lawsuit for COVID-19.
So then the key word becomes gross negligence or ordinary negligence, right?
Yeah, so basically most lobbyists and business owners agree that immunity should be extended for what we talk about negligence, but not what gross negligence means. And typically when you think of negligence, you're going to think of a personal injury attorney, which is something that we do. We file negligence lawsuits. So if somebody rear-ends you in heavy traffic, that's going to be negligence. Versus gross negligence, which will carve out an exception where these business owners will not be exempt for liability if something results in COVID-related. And the simplest way to legally look at gross negligence is it's the deliberate and or reckless disregard for the safety of others. It's willful behavior that's done with extreme disregard for the health and safety of others. it most likely is going to involve conduct that the person knew could result in foreseeable harm. Versus when we just think about negligence, it's a much lesser standard. It's if a person fails to take reasonable precautions that any prudent person would take, and that person's actions or inactions is the cause, both proximately and the legal cause, of course, in the other person who suffers harm or damages, so the injury.
Yeah, so you gave an example here of gross negligence for example, a nursing home staff failing to provide water or food to a resident for several days. That's an example of gross negligence.
Yes, absolutely. It's something that it's foreseeable that would probably result in death. It's a disregard for human life. So it's a really simple example for business owners to kind of understand, and then the tricky part really is, though, is how do you just decide if something's gross negligence or just ordinary negligence.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the courts will decide as we go through. But I do have some an example that I was thinking about as businesses are going through right now. So, for example, if you have a business that is aware that an employee has COVID, and then a patron comes in and they catch COVID, and unfortunately they pass away, through tracing, it's then determined that the employer's employee did actually give that patron COVID. Does this constitute gross negligence? Well, of course, as always, as an attorney, I'm going to say the answer depends on the facts. So when I use the word aware, like as the employer being aware, does that mean in the context of the employer being aware that the employee had COVID after they came into contact with the patron? Because that wouldn't be gross negligence, most likely. But if the employer blankly knew that the employee had COVID-19 and said, come on in, I don't really care, just come to work.
Yeah.
That's going to be reckless disregard, and that's going to be a gross negligence, most likely. You're going to look at how many factors did people, did they take the precautions, the recommendations? If the businesses just didn't follow them and they didn't care and they knew their employees kept getting sick or patrons were getting sick, these are all different factors that would help a court decide if something arises to the level of gross negligence.
Yeah, and it could definitely open up a can of worms if we start handing out these challenging. Of course, it's a challenging decision either way.
Yes.
But if we say, oh well, I went to the sporting goods store and the cashier or whatever, however those stories had, and my uncle, I brought it home and my uncle died, and yeah, he was 75 years old. Yeah, he had some underlying conditions, but still he died because of, if they try to trace it back. Wow, that could really go a lot of way. And it's kind of like, this reminds me a little bit about the Section 230 for limiting the liability of some of the social media companies as well. So it's somewhat similar, right? Can you draw some lines there?
I mean, you're just always trying to, you don't want to infringe on businesses being able to operate. And we always think about freedom of speech, or somebody else is posting something on social media that shouldn't necessarily be held against that company. So there's a lot of different lines that get drawn, and you really always have to look that once something's passed, it's going to be the courts that are going to kind of determine how you're going to read the law. They're going to interpret it depending on how it's written.
Right.
So really will be interesting to see is because there already are these lawsuits being filed regarding COVID-related deaths, how the courts will determine if that is simply just negligence or if it's gross negligence. And that will help us as attorneys and business owners in the future to know perhaps this could be a COVID-related lawsuit that your insurance is going to say, I'm not helping you. And you can best believe they're going to exclude coverage. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen all around. So it's important, for businesses to take precautions. My best advice for businesses is, of course, to require the masks, follow the CDC guidelines, have the screenings in place for employees and patrons, always open communication with your staff so they can feel comfortable coming to you and saying, hey, I'm not feeling well. We don't want people taking advantage of the situation, but it is really important. I mean, we know that we're in a surge upon a surge.
Yeah.
So if you put procedures and protocols in place and then something happens, then that would be just negligence, most likely. So you're protecting yourself, and you're going to protect the future of your business. You don't have to worry about those lawsuits that will put you right out of business. Yeah,
exactly. If you just join us, we're talking with attorney Lauren Frieder here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. She is representing Frank Charles Miranda Law, FCMlaw.com. They can do real estate closings, real estate law, landlord-tenant issues, personal injury, and I'm sure some others out there as well. Well, we're talking about one, too, the COVID-19 business-related. So it's such a challenging time to be in law. How are the courts dealing with, what's the update there as far as getting into court? Are you doing it over Skype and Zoom?
That's a great question, Brandon. Justice Candy, our Supreme Court Justice for Florida, he put out new orders. So criminal stuff is going forward, some of it in person. As it goes for civil at this point, by me, we do follow different phase plans. It's not the same as Governor DeSantis's. I would say much more strict and for the health and safety of everybody who walks into the courthouse. So everything I continue to do is via Zoom. I really miss going to the courthouse, but it's really important to be safe. So they did separate some rules for appellate proceedings, criminal, of course, and civil proceedings. The show must go on. You are allowed to do jury trials via Zoom if all parties consent. I know we've talked about that before. Not a huge fan of that idea.
Yeah.
A bench trial where it's only a judge, that's fine. But they're going forward. So, I've been doing a lot of evictions via Zoom, via telephonic hearings too. So sometimes you don't even see the person or the judge, but you have a telephonic hearing.
So evictions via Zoom.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that when we come back.
Okay.
Let's take our quick break here, and when we come back, more from Attorney Lauren Frieder. Evictions. The moratorium has been, potentially it's going to be coming up. I think on the 31st. Let's see if it gets extended. But evictions are happening right now. So we're talking about renters, landlords, tenants. We're talking about potential for mortgage evictions if you haven't paid the bank in months, and let's discuss that and talk a little bit about how the strategies would play out. And also our feel-good story of the day, woman pays off $16,000 worth of layaways at a toy store. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show with your residential update for Pinellas County, Florida. This is the latest numbers from the Real Estate Board. The active listings, the number of active listings in Pinellas County at the end of October was 3,510 active real estate properties, and that's residential listings. Now, if we come down and we look at the sales, 2,120 of those 3,500 properties sold, and that divided by, is it going to equal a 60% absorption rate right here, which is a pretty high absorption rate in Pinellas County. And if we divide that by 100, that's giving us a 1.67 months supply of inventory. It's a strong seller's market, as you probably already know and heard here in Tampa Bay. So Pinellas County is a hot real estate market here in Tampa Bay. If you're buying, selling, or investing, Brandon Rhymes here, my wife Lindsay and I own and operate the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We offer a free comparable market analysis, and we can also help you improve credit. We have credit experts. Would love to talk to you. 813-670-7372. 813-670-7372. And our website is platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. Of course, we would love to talk to you, help you through that process. This segment is brought to you by the Golf Cart Depot, a.k.a. Discovery Golf Cars, right here in Tampa Bay. It's lots of fun for business, maybe some door knocking like we do in the real estate space, recreation, and they have lots of makes and models right here at Discovery Golf Cars. They've got the Easy Go, the Star EV, a Cushman. They have new or pre-owned, and you can rent or buy. They also have financing and mobile repair available. Tampa location, Clearwater location as well. Discovery Golf Carts, a.k.a. Golf Cart Depot. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. couple of hot property listings from our team at Keller Williams Realty, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're going to throw those on the screen here if you're watching our TV show version. 4209 Preserve Place, Palm Harbor, 2,300 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and a 2-car garage, vaulted ceilings, your waterfront as well. You got a back door, lanai, beautiful property right here, community pool. In Tampa Bay. It's a small community in a golf course community as well of Landsbrook area. Beautiful property in Palm Harbor. Also, we've got 12500 Hamlin Road in Spring Hill, 41 acres. This is zoned agricultural, well and septic on site, multiple so this is a great opportunity for a builder developer. You got 40 acres here, 41 acres in Pasco County in Spring Hill. So it's a great opportunity to build, develop, and have a project in place. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, so we got attorney Lauren Frieder in studio. More about the evictions and the process coming up, but we do have Melissa MENIKHEIM calling in as well from ProHealth Pest Control. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Excellent.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the seasonal, the season that we're in as far as ProHealth Pest Control. What are you seeing out there?
There's rodents.
Yep.
This is the season. It's colder. They're looking for a place to get into. So even if you've never had rodents before, they can get in anytime, anywhere. So that's the issue right now.
I thought I had one last night. I said, man, I'm going to have to call ProHealth. I was sitting there watching, I think it was like Newsmax, kind of flipping through, watching some of the news, catching up on all the, stuff happening with the election. And I kept hearing this boom and bang upstairs. And I'm like, what the heck? I got something big in the attic. And I went upstairs, I looked underneath. There's this little open area where we have, kind of open storage in the second floor. And I didn't see anything. And then I went back down. I was like, well, okay, I'm not going to crawl in the attic. I'm 7 weeks out of a heart surgery.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get up there and risk that. But I said, I'm going to have to call them. And then it happened again. I said, wait a second. That sounded a little bit more like a door. So it was one of those access doors kind of swinging open with the wind.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's what you hear, right? You'll hear kind of stuff crawling around in the attic, because I had it happen in another condo I had back in the day. But you'll hear that type of stuff activity because they're escaping that cooler air when we had these cold snaps.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll hear scratching, or you could hear things, moving around. But yeah, it's usually louder than a lot of people think. So, because they'll say, I think I have a squirrel or a raccoon, and we go in and they're just rodents. But yeah, they're very tricky. They can get in a very small area as well.
Yeah, so you got to be careful about that. And then, so ProHealth Pest Control, you have this program as well that we signed up for, where you can, if you're like me, you want to have peace of mind, and you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to keep them out, and rodents, the termites as well, and of course the ants and the insects. But you have this program where you can sign up. I think it's like a quarterly treatment. Is that right?
Yeah, so when we're there doing a regular quarterly treatment for pests, household pests, we're always looking for any activity as far as termite or rodent. We're looking on the exterior of the home to see if there's any access points. And, we're not always on the inside of the home if they're not having any issues, but we always do free evaluations if somebody does see something on the inside that they want to have looked at. But yeah, typically the exterior, we're going to see areas where they could be getting in, especially on the rodents. And it's in a lot of common areas. If you want to look for yourself, you can look around the soffits and see if you have any hanging areas, under the eaves of your roof.
Right.
And also around the AC unit. There's usually a chase with wires that go up, or either the electrical or whatever. And if it's not completely sealed off, it's easy for them to use that as an access point right into the attic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And got to keep them out, because once they get in there, I had another property that I sold that had a family. It somehow just started breeding in the attic, and it was, I believe it was a raccoon or a squirrel. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was raccoon because they're a little bit bigger. And it was a complete family. I think there was up to like 13 of them in the attic of this house.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so that causes problems. That can cause some
They
challenges.
multiply quickly.
Yeah, I bet. And then if you just joined us, by the way, we're talking with Melissa MENIKHEIM here, ProHealth Pest Control, longtime friends of the program, absolute top-notch company right here in Tampa Bay, part of our expert contributor panel for all things real estate, credit, finance, estate, and tax planning, legal as well. Here on the show, we cover 80 different categories of consumer advocate content. And I want to ask you something, Melissa, because I was on the phone with my mom, and she said, well, somehow we stumbled on the conversation of bats. Maybe it was when I was telling her about what happened with my attic. She said, do we have bats here? And I said, I think so. I thought I saw one on our back lanai out by the lake one time. But have you come across those bats out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the summertime, if you're out enjoying, a summer evening, a lot of times you can just see them flying around in the sun when the sun is setting, in the sky. But we have seen them in homes. Usually a wildlife expert will take care of them, if they are in the home. But yeah, definitely they are here, and we've seen them quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because there's a debate out there too about if they good in terms of, because I heard they can eat up to like twice their body weight in mosquitoes and midges.
Yeah.
Is that true? Have you
Oh,
looked
yeah.
at that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend. He has a piece of property. He calls it a ranch, but it's, a nice piece of property up in Brooksville. And he actually installed bat houses, and he brought in, I don't even know where he got them or how, and he virtually has zero mosquitoes there. And he's got a pool, and there's water, like a little lake there.
Wow.
And he's created his own little oasis, and they take care of the mosquitoes. They don't bother, the bats don't bother him in any way. And then he's even got the water that, he was explaining it to me, but he keeps the water circulating so the mosquitoes, aren't breeding there as much.
Right.
And I was amazed. I was like, oh my goodness, of course he's got a bigger piece of property, but, I'm sure anybody could do that, but it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat when you develop your own little ecosystem. And you're utilizing, a creature like a bat to eat and maintain the backyard. We need some bats in our backyard, I tell you, from the living on the lake like that.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
ProHealth Pest Control. What's Dan up to? How's Dan doing?
He has been very busy. Apparently today with a client that he ran longer than he expected. But yeah, there's we're still seeing termite issues. This is typically people say, oh, they're not as active, but they can still be just because it's not as warm. And of course it's been warm, until today. So we're, and also with the rain, we've been seeing ants. And of course, those things are always going to pop up, but the rodents are really what's the biggest concern this time of year, especially as it's starting to get colder, because they're now definitely going to be looking for a place to get in and nest and keep warm.
Yeah, that's right. So reach out, ProHealth Pest Control, Melissa and Dan MENIKHEIM. Reach out to them, let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. It's a great time to get signed up for that package they have. You call it your VIP package, or what do you call that?
Yes, we actually have a special deal. In addition, we always have a special for your listeners, but until the end of the year, we're even taking $100 off any new pest control service or termite. And we can extend that as well for any rodent issues. So it's quite a bit of a savings for the first service, and it's good until the end of this month. So as long as we talk to them by the end of this month, we will honor that.
Very good. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate you extending that. You heard it here.
Yeah.
VIP, $100 off. Melissa MENIKHEIM, ProHealth Pest Control. Reach out. We'd love to connect you with them. Reach out to the hotline or consumerqb.com. We'll put you right in touch with Dan and Melissa MENIKHEIM, owners of ProHealth Pest Control. Hey, thanks so much, Melissa. We appreciate it. Coming up, we got Lauren Frieder here as well. Frank Charles, Miranda Law. We're going to talk about evictions and that moratorium here coming up in the next segment. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Alrighty, Brandon, let me know when you want to proceed. Jonathan, you ready? Alrighty, everyone, please stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. We actually have our new book coming out within the next few weeks. I'm real excited about that. Quarterbacking Success will be the third book that we've written. I actually had Lindsay write a chapter or two in this next book, but it's part of our radio TV show mantra around here, and it kind of details how we've really grown our real estate business to be in the top 1% of all realtors in Tampa Bay. So we're utilizing that as a tool for other realtors. And of course, if realtors would want to join our team, we'll of course give them a copy of that book as well, kind of give them an insight into our mind and what our goals are and what our strategy is. That way we can help you get to your goals, reach your goals as well with the Consumer Quarterback Show. So real excited about that, working with the godfather of ghostwriting on that, Eli Gonzalez. You've heard Lisa Walls on the show, but we're almost done. And Quarterbacking Success will be out very soon. So we got a great lineup for you here on the second half of the show. Lauren Frieder's in studio. She's an attorney here in Tampa Bay, Frank Charles Miranda Law. Coming up, we've got Fred DeFelice, the water genius here in Tampa Bay, waterscience.us. Fred DeFelice going to be here in studio. A couple of hot properties for this segment. We're going to put up a couple of hot properties here. If you're watching our TV show version, check out this property. We've got let's skip that one. We did that one just last segment. 5832 Beverly Drive, Hudson. Build your dream home. Water access, deep water access, sailboat access as well. Enjoy Gulf access. Check out that beautiful photography, compliments of Fabre frameworks. You can see the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico, sport fishing. Enjoy that Gulf living right here in Tampa Bay on this vacant lot. All right, 4102 West Sevilla Street in South Tampa. This is a South Tampa corner lot, beautiful property, almost 2,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, custom wine closets, terracotta porch, new wood floors. Great opportunity right here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, attorney Lauren Frieder's in the house. Frank Charles, Miranda Law, FCMlaw.com. Evictions, moratoriums. What are you seeing happening in that space?
Well, first, I wanted to say congratulations on the book because that's really awesome. That's
Appreciate
really cool.
that.
So right now, what do I see happening with an eviction moratorium? So as you know, at the state level, for Florida, there are no more eviction protections. So all we've got left is the CDC moratorium for evictions that expires December 31st. I do not believe it's going to be extended currently, so there's probably going to be a gap from January 1st until when Biden takes office because he has stated that he would like to extend the moratorium. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm doubtful that they'll extend the current one that expires December 31st is because they already think, extend the student loan payments another month for somebody like me. Yeah. So I thought maybe it might be helpful to talk a little bit for ways for landlords, since we are doing evictions. They're moving forward quite easily. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the eviction via Zoom, but the eviction process and some tips for landlords that want to evict tenants and ways to help save them money, because I know a lot of landlords have been affected by not getting their rent payments from tenants for a long time. And then I do have some tips for tenants who might be evicted.
Yeah, it's such a challenging time. Look, I mean, check this scenario out. Let's just say, for example, there is a restaurant owner, or, insert any type of business here, right? You're forced to shut down. The government says you cannot. And in Florida, obviously, we have a little less of this, with DeSantis at the helm. But in other states, and I heard it said on a radio or maybe a TV show I was watching, that if the government were to impose, hey, you can't work, you can't make money, they should at some point kick in and pay your rents, pay your mortgages. It seems like that's something that was, I forgot what they were quoting, but it said something about almost to the effect of personal property.
Yes.
If you're taking something from personal property, it should be benefited. And by the way, the government's given out how many trillions of dollars lately? I think it was close to $7 or $8 trillion.
Yeah, and a lot of it hasn't been used either, and that's another problem.
Yes.
So I do completely agree. I mean, I am happy that Florida's open. Obviously we have a surge upon a surge, but you've got to be able to work, keep your businesses open.
Right.
I do believe there should probably be a state level mask mandate, just for extra precautions. But thank gosh we're in Florida and we are open, and we're able to keep some businesses alive and incomes coming in for people, because I really just cannot imagine. I have family that lives in Ohio and Michigan, and they're under some really strict orders, and their numbers are just rising. So I don't necessarily think shutting down is the answer by any means.
Yeah.
I don't see that being that effective. So, like we talked about, the evictions are moving forward in Florida. Part of that coincides with Governor DeSantis allowing under Phase 3 for any and all businesses to open. It's a right to work state. It's one of our, rights under the Florida Constitution. So because there's no more protections, unless we're talking about that CDC federal moratorium, which you've got to really understand it. And really, we're already into December. So there's going to be that waiting period, that grace period. I do believe it will probably be extended under Biden. I don't know if there'll be different terms or conditions.
Yeah.
So in the interim, I was thinking about landlords. So first off, Florida evictions are super easy to understand. It's one of those statutes that reads very well and easy to an ordinary person. You don't have to be a lawyer to really figure it out. Good. So that is Florida Statute 83, and there's 3 parts to it. Part 1 governs non-residential tenancies, and Part 2 governs residential. And Part 3, I got to be honest, I think it has to do with like mobile homes. Or storage units. I don't deal with that one, but I know there's 3 parts.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about ways for landlords and stuff that I see for them to go ahead and start evicting people and save money, since they've lost a lot of money.
Yep.
So one of the most important things that I tell my clients, whether it's residential or commercial, but we'll stick more with residential today, is to serve a proper 3-day notice to vacate or pay rent in whatever money is owed in rent, which gives the tenant 3 days to pay the outstanding monies owed or to surrender the property. And you've got to serve it properly. Typically, that means you're going to post it on the door. I prefer a service process server to do that, because then it's even more beneficial if you have to go to court and file that eviction. So do it the right way first, so that your lawsuit for eviction doesn't get dismissed, because I see it happen.
So, Lauren, we're running out of time, but I wanted to get to this scenario. I had a gentleman call me. He said his girlfriend was living in the house, been living in the house. It was an ex-girlfriend, by the way. Been living in his house, allegedly. And so would that same 3-day notice apply to that gentleman?
So that's going to be Florida Statute 82. And that, well, actually, better question. I know we talked about
lease was in place.
No lease. Okay. So that's such a typical case scenario. So you're looking at ejectment or unlawful detainer is what I would call it. Typically, it's kids that went back home and their parents want them out, or exes, just like you're saying.
There you go.
So it's a really simple procedure, just as simple as the eviction procedure. It just reads straight through.
And is it pretty blanket? Because I think he was in Hernando County, Hillsborough. Is it all pretty
yeah,
much
it's going to be the same. I mean, you're always
Okay.
going to want to look county to county and then actually within that court because they might have different guidelines. But when I say Florida statute, that's controlled by for all of Florida.
Yeah.
And you can literally go online to any like the clerk's offices or even the statute itself, and it gives you these self-help forms.
Good.
So you don't necessarily have to hire an attorney.
Right.
These are so simple to fill out, but you got to do it the right way.
Yes.
So like that notice we're talking about, that's
Yep.
a condition precedent to bringing an eviction lawsuit
Absolutely.
or unlawful detainer.
Yep.
If you don't do that and the other side, the tenant's smart enough, guess what? You got to start all over again.
Yeah, you don't break in, change the locks while they're
No.
gone. Like there's certain things definitely
No
don't do.
self-help
Be
in
careful.
Florida. No self-help in Florida. Do
All right,
not
well,
do that.
let's jump right to our final thought, parting words of wisdom. Attorney Lauren Frieder, Frank Charles, Miranda Law. Give us some final words of wisdom or final thought.
Oh, jeez. For everybody, really stay safe out there. We talked a lot about COVID and the liability for businesses. Put some protocols in place at your business. Follow the CDC guidelines. Just use common sense. Protect yourself, your loved ones, and others. We're all going through this together. If you have any business questions, eviction, real estate, personal injury, I am your go-to person on that stuff, and I'm more than always happy to help doing free consultation. So you can give me a shout at 813-254-2637, extension 3. Shoot me an email at Lauren, Lauren, at fcmlaw.com. And it was a pleasure to be here with you, Brandon.
I'm going to give that number one more time. 813-254-2637.
Correct.
And extension 3, that's going to get you to Lauren Frieder, expert contributor here on the Consumer Quarterback
you.
Show. All right, good stuff. We're coming up. We got Fred DeFelice, all that you'd want to know about water and probably some things you might not want to know about what's in your water supply right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, giving you a real estate market update for Hillsborough County. These are the residential listings available. At the end of October, there were 3,348 residential properties available in Hillsborough County. And out of those 3,348 properties, 2,488 sold. That gives us a 74% absorption rate. That is a high rate of absorption, and it also equals a 1.35 months supply of inventory, equals a strong seller's market. It's a great time to sell right now. Of course, if you're buying, selling, or investing, we would love to talk to you. Brandon Rhymes here. My wife Lindsay and I own and operate a top team at Keller Williams Realty. We actually rank in the top 1% of all realtors here in Tampa Bay. Give us a call at 813-670-7372. Free comparable market analysis, 813-670-7372. And check out our website, platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And for our radio show, you can check us out at consumerqb.com, and you can find 80 plus categories, 50 plus show partners at consumerqb.com. And Brandon Rhymes here signing off. Thank you so much. Make it a great day.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, of course, buying, selling, or investing. Certified negotiation expert. And my wife Lindsay does feng shui and interior design as well. So we've got a really cool team, 10 or so folks on our team, consisting of transaction coordinators, personal assistant. Our personal assistant Margie is just awesome. Great team here to help you win in your real estate deals. No matter if you're looking to buy or sell or invest, we would love to help you. And we got a couple of hot listings we're going to tell you about here with our real estate team. We feature our listings live on air on the show, and we're going to put a couple of them up on screen right now if you're watching our version of the property. You got 2528 Appaloosa Trail, Palm Harbor, 2278 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3-car garage. And it's a great opportunity to buy right here in Tampa Bay. Lowest mortgage rates that we've seen in a long time. Reach out to Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. All right, one of my favorite listings right now, 1010 Bay Esplanade. This is on Clearwater Beach. You've got a 3rd-story balcony / sun deck where you can just lay out, enjoy, and take in those beautiful water views of the Gulf of Mexico and the intercoastal waterways. This is a 3,151 square foot home, updated kitchen, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage. Great opportunity to own real estate in Millionaires Row right here in Tampa Bay on Clearwater Beach. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And we're going to tell you our feel-good story of the day. Every day we're going to tell you something good.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so this one's out of Australia. You got a Secret Santa that paid off 80 layaways at a toy store in Queensland, Australia. Staff told Mr. Toys World store said the mystery woman came in and paid off $16,000 worth of gifts. And, quote, we were all speechless. It was really a crazy moment, employee Maddie Gillespie told the news organization. Employee Rachel Thomas said she had to console parents who had been overcoming with emotions when they were informed about the stranger's kindness, and the woman did not ask for recognition. So very cool. Lady pays off $16,000 worth of layaway at a toy store. That was a pretty cool story there. Fred DeFelice, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, good to see you, man. Really.
Welcome in, brother. So waterscience.us, helping people with their clean water and tasty water, healthy water, because it's not all true. We see what's happening with Tampa right now. There's a boil alert.
Yeah, and that's the big news that just happened. And a good friend of ours and a good customer and a good friend of the show, Lori, her name is, in Tampa, and she texted me last night, all concerned about this.
Yeah.
Well, she was so happy to know that she doesn't need to deal with boiling her water.
Ah, okay.
That boil water advisory doesn't apply to our customers that have our whole healthy home system.
Very good.
Because the big thing with what they're wanting you to do with the boiled water is get rid of bacteria.
Ah, okay.
So our system takes care of that.
So the system will clean it out. So the waterscience.us, the system that you install on the exterior of the home.
Correct.
You're treating the water that comes from the county or the city, the municipality, wherever that water comes from. You're treating it so you can just ignore those boil alerts.
Yeah. The big thing is our under sink unit.
Yes.
And this is where we're getting rid of any bacteria, fluoride, pharmaceutical drugs, microplastic particles.
Yes, exactly. Chlorines, all that bad stuff that's in the water supply that, frankly, you probably don't even hear enough about because of the news and the media. They're, of course, half of them, especially when they talk about national stories, they're somewhat fake news. They're political activists. But on a local level, at least you get some of the stuff that happens, but you still don't hear it all. You don't hear about the high levels of pharmaceuticals, the microplastics, as we mentioned.
Yeah, no. You have to learn that by listening to your show.
That's right. You got to be an informed consumer these days.
Right.
You got to educate yourself. You got to take your, your family's health into your own hands and literally, look at the ways that we help people. But when you think about the water supply, is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is the population of Florida? What are we doing as far as population and sustainability as well? That's another thought.
Yeah. Well, they know we're going to run out of water with all the great construction going on everywhere.
Right.
So they are looking into using the reclaimed water. You know what you use to water your lawn?
Yeah.
That smelly stuff?
Yep.
Well, they're going to run that through the desalinization plant and blend it in with the regular water.
So you're going to be drinking water that's been flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, and the big thing is there's going to be more pharmaceutical drugs in that water.
Yeah.
So, it's incumbent upon us to take care of our home when it gets there.
Yeah.
I was talking to Dr. Serrano the other day, and we were having a discussion about the accumulating effects of toxins in our body.
Yes.
And, of course, the big thing is food. Everything we eat people that are drinking Pepsis and Cokes and everything that's acidic. Well, the other big thing is the water you're drinking.
Yes.
And showering in. All kinds of studies. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. It absorbs the chlorine and chloramine right through the skin when you're in the shower.
Right.
Plus, if you take a hot shower like I do, you got all that vapor. That
Also,
chlorine,
you're breathing it in.
You're breathing it right in.
Wow.
So we urge our customers and our people that listen to the show, do your own research online. Right. You can see all the information about how bad chlorine and chloramine is.
What's a good site? Because I know sometimes you go online, you try to research, it's like pop-ups galore, links to this. What's the best place to get good information?
There's a couple, and the easiest thing, if people were to just email me, I would send them the links.
There you go.
It's just fred@waterscience.us.
Fred, F-R-E-D, at waterscience, WATERSCIENCE.us. Fred@waterscience.us. Just email them directly, and the sites. It's going to be information. You've already done a lot of research, so you can send them. You can send them links, from third parties, government. A lot of them probably government related.
Yep.
Parties. You hit on something on topical there as far as the accumulation of toxins, because we're getting toxins from all kinds of areas. Your air that you breathe, the water, as you mentioned, the food supply. The amount of chemicals that have been in the farming and the agricultural space for years and years. And one thing that you can do that we've got to try to pick as consumers and as human beings, we got to try to pick areas that we can focus on and things that we can really change and control. Right. One of the areas would be the water. You mentioned it was basically $1 a day to throw in one of your systems, to install one of your systems. I should say throw in. But, you'd be proud of me, Fred. I've been doing more and more of these types of bottles and these containers, non-plastic. It's a metal container. And I just say, hey, it's a better water. It's a better water, and your family deserves it.
Yeah, and a lot of us are depending on bottled water from the in the plastic bottles.
Yes.
The microplastic particles, everything else that goes wrong with plastic, you just got to get out of that stuff.
Yes.
So the toxins, everything we do is toxin.
Yeah.
The microplastic particles is probably one of the biggest things they're uncovering.
The microplastic particles, and we talked about before. There's that little continent out there floating in the middle of which body of water is that in now? It's off the coast of Africa, I think, right?
Yeah, it's where 3 bodies meet, kind of.
Yeah, with those different not the Gulf Stream, but the different streams of, it's piling it up in the areas and it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's everything. The tires on your car spit out microplastic particles.
Right. And then that drains down and through the drain supply.
Anything that winds up in the Hillsborough River, you're getting it in your water supply. So.
Yeah.
Throughout history, man has always polluted his rivers, Before we got smart about things, if you had a factory upstream, you didn't care where it went. You dumped it in the water. You're polluting.
Yeah.
So it's just everywhere. And the big thing is what we have is affordable. We don't need to. I don't like to scare people with all the things that go on.
Yeah.
We have the way of solving the problem.
Real quick here, we got a couple minutes left, but I want to beat up on some of the misnomers as well. That's one of the things we'd like to tackle here. And if you just joined us, we're talking with Fred D. Felice, waterscience.us. AKA the water genius. I don't know. I said it earlier, and it just kind of flows. The water genius here. So Fred D. Felice, when you look at the water, a lot of people move to Florida. They don't know, and then their neighbors say, "Oh yeah, you got to get one of these water softeners."
Exactly.
Not the thing to do.
Not at all. Many states have already outlawed or banned the use of water softeners. They pollute the environment. They add sodium to your drinking water, to your water.
Not good.
Not good. They pollute the environment tremendously. I mean, tons of sodium chloride get involved into our water stream. And because when that system backwashes every 4 days, it's throwing about 100 gallons of wastewater right in the sewer.
Wow.
Anything goes in the sewer goes into our waterways.
Jeez.
So it's a big problem. In one of the states, they found so much sodium chloride in their water that they said It's because we're putting salt in the wintertime on the roads.
Ah, wow.
40% of that, they determined, came from water softeners.
Wow.
So it's a big problem. People just don't know.
Yeah. And it's so difficult to clean it. Like I remember back when I was younger and I saw the Exxon Valdez and the birds covered with the oil.
Yep.
Our water is so precious. We've got about a minute left. Give us your final thought, Fred.
Well, the final thought is, how about giving your family the best Christmas gift ever? We're putting a healthy home package, which includes the whole house water purification system, the under-sink alkaline system, which treats the water for the fluoride, the pharmaceutical drugs, and everything else. And we're financing that. Oh, we're doing free installation.
Free installs. Nice.
And removal of any old system you might have. And that financing comes out to $29 a month.
Very nice.
And we're ready to do it, even if we have to do it right after Christmas.
Text water, give us a call. You can text water to the hotline, the 670-7372. Call or text, and he gave out his email earlier as well, fred@waterscience.us, fred@waterscience.us. Always a pleasure. Fred DeFelice.
Great to be here.
The water genius.
All right,
I kind of like it. All right, we'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.